mwina ndinenepo kuti document imeneyi ya DPP ikusonyeza mmene chipani cha DPP idzagwirire ntchito kuyambira mchaka cha 2025 September pano mpaka 2030. President wa chipaniwa Professor Tapita Mutharika anakhazikitsa timu anthu amene kuchita kafukufuku kuyankhulana ndi amalawi ndi anthu otithandiza, anthu a business, amayi, azibambo, asungwana, anyamata, kaya ndi ma street kids, agogo, aliwonse, kayaso anthu amene amagwira ntchito mboma, kaya ndi private sector, kaya ndi aku opposition, kaya ndi kwina konseko, timayeneka kuyankhula nawo. Ndipo ine ndine Dr. Collins Magalasi ana ndi pempha kuti nditsogolere gulu limeneli lopanga kafukufuku komanso kuti tilembe manifesto imeneyi. Ndi zomwe tikambirane pano ndi zapang'ono pokha za zimene zidzachitike kuyambira September uno. Ndinenenso kuti document imeneyi ili zilankhulo zitatu. Amene akufuna kudziwa zimene DPP zachite mu Chingerezi chilimo, komanso manifesto yiso ili mu Chichewa, ndiponso ili mu Chitumbuka. Mabuku alipo, mukawafuna mutha ndikuwapeza DPP ku office kwawo, kapena mwayimbira lamya, kapena amene muli ndi internet mungopita pa page la DPP www.dpp.mw. mukawa pamenepo mupita pa section ya manifesto, musankha chiyankhulo imene mukufuna, kandi achichewa, kandi cha English, kandi Tumbuka, mupeza. But let me also add that in the event that you have got a smartphone or a laptop with a QR code, you can just take the QR code that is there and you can choose the language that you want. For the sake of time, let me state that the manifesto of the DPP is 92 pages long or short. Some people think that is too short, looking at the many things that the DPP is capable of doing. But I can assure you that within the 92 pages, you have everything. The DPP manifesto has got two sides. The first section gives the pillars that the party is going to lean on, and then the second part are the enablers that will ensure that the party achieves what it has set out to be. Let's go to the pillars of the DPP manifesto. There are four pillars. The first pillar is agricultural productivity and commercialization. We all know that the DPP is about sustainability, it's about food security, it's about commercialization. The second pillar is industrialization. The third is urbanization. And the fourth is decentralization. Now, these four pillars are going to be supported by 23 enablers. And very quickly, let me just go through them. The first one is the economy itself. When we went and talked to all kinds of persons in Malawi, from Chitipa to Sanje, from Likoma to Mchinji, we came up with 23 enablers. But the one that came out very strongly was on the economy. How will the DPP restore the stability and growth of the Malawi economy? The second enabler is on what we have: mining, tourism, transport infrastructure, energy, ICT, artificial intelligence, secondary cities. We have land, housing, and water services. Another enabler, very important, is the mindset. We will then go to the rule of law, governance, and fighting corruption as an enabler before we get into security. Then we move to international cooperation and the diaspora before we get into human capital development. Specifically, there are steps that are highlighted in education, in health, youth and sports, women empowerment and gender, the elderly, disadvantaged persons and people with special needs. And then we go into climate and environmental sustainability and disaster risk management before we get into the enabler on non-state actors, that is to say religious institutions, non-government organizations, and the media. We also have an enabler on creative arts before we come to the cause that the party is making to the various stakeholders. Let me quickly go to the enabler number one. And this is on the economy. After this, I'll go back to talk about agriculture and food security. It's important that I begin that way because right now we are in problems as an economy. We have the highest in the history of inflation rate. Our inflation is very high. Interest rates are extremely high. There is no forex. There is no forex, and I repeat. We have a population that is starving. There is no food. There's no fuel. There's no sugar. There's no cement. There's no medicines. You can name it. Now, in order for us to resuscitate, these are things that we got from the people. And the DPP Manifesto has a specific measures that it will take in order to bring the economy back. The first step is the recovery plan, which will begin with consolidating what we have. There is a lot of wastage in the current economy. And the DPP, first thing that it will do is to consolidate, to stop the leakages. What are some of those things that the DPP, through its manifesto, is pledging to do? Among the many things that it will do to stop wastage, these are the commitments that the DPP will do immediately, within the very first 6 months of its governance. Number one is to stop wastage, as I had said. The DPP will have a lean and inclusive cabinet, because we know the bigger the cabinet, the more resources go to waste. The DPP hopes that once we have stopped the leakages, we will then begin to stabilize the economy. But let me very quick to give everybody some of the things that the DPP is going to do in order to stop the leakages. Apart from the small size of the economy, the small size of the economy that will be financing the small cabinet, the DPP will freeze the purchase of new vehicles for public officials. And then there will be very strict implementation of commitment controls under the integrated financial management system. In order to contain arrears, we have got a problem with very high debt at 18-point-something trillion kwacha is unsustainable. So we need to find a mechanism that will stop the growth of debt, begin to repay, so that we are able to reach what is called positive primary balance. There are measures that we have. We need to follow the domestic resource mobilization strategy that is already there. We'll have to reform the agricultural input program. we'll have to rationalize expenditures, fiscal expenditure, but also stop non-budgeted activities. We will reverse some decisions that the current government has made, those that we know are wasting government resources. Just to give an example, it makes absolutely no sense that you have got Macra and other institutions with their own buildings in Blantyre, and then you transfer them to Lilongwe, and then they don't have offices. They are renting in houses in Area 10, in Area 12, Kuchigwiri, and other places. We are going to reverse that. The DPP also talks about rationalizing costs of Parliament. And in rationalization, there will also be a strict cut on the budget of state residences. The point is, there will be several decisions being made in the very first 6 months in order for us to make a saving. We are going to save 500 billion kwacha in the first year, that's 2025-2026, and then 2027 will save 700 billion kwacha, and then from 2028 to 2030 there will be a saving of 1.5 trillion kwacha every year. These monies will be used to begin to retire the debt that we have. So we have to come down from the 18.7 trillion kwacha debt that we have down to manageable levels. Mwina ndinene kuti tikachita zimene ndanenazi tipanga ma saving, komano we need to stabilize the economy. Forex yathu ikweneka ibwerere. Ndipo zinthu zofunikira ngati mankhwala, mafuta, ndi zinthu zambiri zimene anthu ama business amafuna kuti zibwerere. And this we will do in the very first 6 months. Kodi ndalamazo tizatenga kuti? Ndalamazo DPP yakunena kuti ndalama zochitira zitukuko zimene ndiyankhulezi zichokera kumalo ngati awa. This is from September, so by March, in 6 months' time, the DPP will work with the IMF to craft a new extended credit facility. And then there is a $2 billion financial arrangement that will be normalized with regional and international financial institutions in order for us to boost our foreign reserve positions. And then we will reintroduce a $500 million government guarantee revolving letters of credit, basically between the Reserve Bank of Malawi and some regional banks, in order for us to secure the key strategic imports of fuel, medicines, but also fertilizer, as you had said. And then there will be some reversals, particularly on foreign currency denominated accounts, FCDS, which the current government has made. We'll also reverse all negative exchange control regulations on FCDS, particularly those belonging to NGOs. We know NGOs are closing, but we are going to reverse and make sure things go. And then foreign missions, but also Malawians in diaspora. There is currently a mandatory regulation on conversion of export receipts. We are going to reverse this as well, the very first few days of taking office. There are specific lines that we have on debt management. There are specific issues that we have on new contracts. We are going to stop any new contract obligations on external public and publicly guaranteed loans, at least for the first 2 years, in order for us to become sensible. Kodi ndalama zimenezi ena safunsanso chifukwa DPP Manifesto packed ndi zinthu zimene funano kuyankhula pano. Ndalama zake zitenga kuti the DPP Manifesto is based on the fact that ndalama zonse zazomwe timene tikambe apazi will come from Malawians. The current taxes that we are collecting, we have just added only a 1% upward adjustment on what we collect. Ndiye tipezeka zoti titsalaso ndi surplus. And I'm going to talk about the things that we are going to do in order kupanga them. Ndikambe nkhani ya food security mungamene nanena muja apapa kuyambira September kuli kubwezeresa extension service ulangizi, kuli nkhani yopeza fetereza kwa iwo amene ali kumusowa wokwanira komanso mu nthawi yake komanso pa mtengo wabwino. Pali nkhani ya ma industrial farms, pali nkhani ya mbewu, boma lipereka mbewu kwa iwo amene afuna kulima kuti atumize kunja. Komanso tikambe nkhani ya ADMAC imene ibwerera, tikambe nkhani ya National Food Reserve Agency imene ikhala ndi 150,000 metric tons nthawi zonse kuti ndziko muno motisa zapezeke kuti tili ndi vuto la chakudya olo kuti pali vuto lina lilonse ngati zitati kuti zativuta kuli ng'amba. Komanso ndikambenso nkhani ya ma training centers ngati the land husbandry training center ambiri mukuidziwa imene yoyo we are ready, we are set to go. Ndipite kuma ma farms amene azikambidwa magulisidwe achimanga zonsezo zili mu document imeneyi, komanso mafamu amene atsegulidwe mumadera osiyana-siyana. Nkhani ya industrialization ndizoti focus yathu ikazoti kodi zimene tikupangazi zipindulira bwanji amalawi kuti tipeze tikule komanso tipeze forex yakunja. Pali ma special economic zones amene ndakuluakulu koma I think local Malawians would want ma industries ena amene ayambike. Ma industry amene wawa ndioti ang'ono awa achitika mu madera kwa Kauma ku Blantyre kundilande kaya ndikuzolozolo kumzuzu, they are all packed. Every industry has been given zinthu zake. Ndikambe nkhani ya zaulimi mogwirizananso ndi malonda. ADMAC ntchito yake ipangida reform, ntchito yake ikhala kugula ndi kugulitsa chimanga komanso zakudya zina. Tipanga resuscitate magawo ena amene amagula ngati msika, chifukwa anthu amavutika ndi msika, sinkhani ya mavenda ijaya apapa mavenda pansima pa chimanga ulendo uno kulibe apeze zina zochita. Tibwere ku nkhani ya mining, they are in there. Tatapanga quantify ma mines athu zonse mene zilimo tizapanga motani, tili ndalama aside $500 billion, 500 billion kwaja ipita kumene koko kuti chonga choti boma la Malawi lizikhala ndi stake yokhala ndi mine, not kumapatsidwa ngati mwangozi monga mene zikuchitikiramo. Ndibwere ku nkhani ya transport infrastructure. The DPP manifesto has plans for land, air, water and rail transport systems. Ma details akewo alimobe ochuluka. Pali nkhani ya misewu yochuluka kwambiri. Komanso ndikambe kuti kodi misewu imene yoyi pena pake na mati mfachani mu document ya manifesto ya DPP ayika misewu magawo awiri, misewu ya national ndi misewu ya local sana ichule. Ichi mfa choti chansanamira uja ndakamba what is decentralization, kupereka mphamvu ku anthu. Boma la DPP lipanga devolve mphamvu komanso ndalama zoyendesera chitukuko. Ndalama zokwanira zizaperekedwa ku ma local councils for ma constituency enali wonse. Takamakani za misewu, kaya zipatala, kaya masukulu and all that. Chaka ndi chaka kuzipitisidwa ndalama zokwanira 5 billion kwaja ku constituency enali yonse. Ndekuli ma constituency 229. Amenewa ili yonse zilandira 5 billion kwacha ya chitukuko kudera kwawoko. Ndengati kuderako kukonstituency kuja kukusowa nsewu, iwo agula mageredala awo, alemba antchito kumeneko, ma engineers and all that, kukonstituency kuja. And in fact, if you look at this, we are talking of pafufupi constituency yonse indi maodi awiri. It means kuti muodi ili yonse muzipangida spend about 2 billion kwacha chaka ndi chaka. Kunkhani ya ma business a azimai, constituency ina ili yonse will get 100 million kwacha for businesses that are run by women in the constituencies, in each and every constituency, each and every year for 5 years. In terms of the youth, they also have 100 million kwacha every year for businesses, entrepreneurship by the youth. And every year, there is a lot of creativity in the country, creative arts and sports. There is also an allocation of 50 million kwacha in each and every constituency every year. Hey, you're talking about big monies. Yes, it's because Malawi has the money. All these things that I'm talking about in 229 constituencies, we will set aside 1.214 trillion kwacha every year. From the 6.5 trillion kwacha that we collect, chifukwa timatolera kumalawi kunoko MRA imatolera about 6.5 trillion kwacha chaka ndi chaka. Koma ndalama zimene zozo zakhala zipita ku Capitol Hill. Ulendo uno tikutengako 1.3 trillion kwacha ipite kuma constituency. Muona amene zinthu ziyendere. Sipapezeka kuti pali sukulu yomwe ikusowa desk. Ndalama zake, mphamvu zake akachita nthaku constituency kumwe kuja. Another area that is of key interest, tikupanga research, we found that education, much as we are saying it's free, but it's not free. So the DPP Manifesto says secondary school is free and mandatory. They are also introducing secondary school education. So primary and secondary will be free. Yes. Pupils must go to school. Everybody must have access to a school and learn. In addition, we got it from the people we interviewed that there are many pupils that are failing to go to school because of money for national ID or examination ID or examination fees or development fees, or whatever that you call them. The DPP Manifesto is abolishing. There will be no development fees, no any other fees. There will be no examination fees for money. Those costs will be made by the DPP government. Where will they get the money? In the budget. It's already there. We have done the calculations. Free primary, free secondary, without development fees and examination fees being paid for by the pupils. It is correct that we are going to adjust the budget only by 123 billion kwacha a year. Yes, 123 billion kwacha a year is enough. But I'll tell you, if state residences can spend 79 billion kwacha a year, state residences alone, you mean Malawians cannot find 123 billion kwacha to allow every student to do primary and secondary school for free? The DPP Manifesto says we are going to do that. So decentralization is a very key area that the DPP Manifesto is going to make. Now, the way the manifesto has been crafted, it is in such a way that there is interconnection between the national policy. We want Capitol Hill to be the national policy holder, and local councils in the constituencies must be implementers. Money will be at the constituency level. Very quickly, what do we have for people with disabilities or people with special needs or street kids? How about the elderly? There's a chapter that specifically speaks to the areas that I'm talking about. Most of the classes that I've just mentioned, including women, rely on day-to-day survival mechanisms. Palima programs that will come back, food for work program is there, it's been budgeted for and planned for, and money will be made available through the same local councils that we talked about. We are going to turn Malawi's local areas into secondary cities. Imagine 5 billion kwacha every year in each constituency. You are going to build your own schools, your own hospitals. With that money, by the way, each and every constituency will have at least every year new hospitals in each and every constituency with medicine and personnel. The same thing with schools. There will be new school blocks with teaching and learning materials and teachers. This reminds me of the issue of teachers as public servants. One of the areas that the DPP Manifesto is talking about is pension and gratuities management. The DPP says the moment they get into office, all those public servants that retired will be getting their money on time. Further, for those that are still serving the public service, let's take an example of maybe teachers or secretaries. The DPP is reintroducing the housing scheme where the public servants will have access to this particular mechanism. Let's talk about other areas in summary: land, housing. The housing one will come back, by the way. The Malata and Cement Subsidy Program will be revived but reformed in order to make sure that the targeting is correctly done. We will talk about corruption as we come to an end, fighting corruption. The DPP Manifesto commits to fight corruption without any hesitation. The DPP Manifesto will digitalize records and all that in order to limit the interface between decision makers and applicants. The DPP will also make sure that the institutions, Anti-Corruption Bureau, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, the Independent Complaints Commission of Police, and others are fully funded and without any interference. The DPP Manifesto has specific interventions for our security systems, including the Malawi Defense Force, Malawi Police, Immigration, Malawi Prisons, National Intelligence Service, and you can get the details in the DPP Manifesto. There is a specific call we got on mindset change. At Malawi, we need to change our minds, the way we handle things, and the DPP has specific programs that are in there, including special programs on how to deal with existing mindset caused problems, such as suicide. Under the pillar on infrastructure development that I talked about and international cooperation and diaspora, there is a special program for religious institutions, but also civil society organizations and the Malawians in diaspora. The public service has also a specific remuneration for judiciary, the legislature, the executive, and under the public service performance, we have also specific areas. But all these have to buttress and support the private sector, industry, and trade, which will make sure that we go back to what we had said, that Malawi's economy is a priority for us, and we believe that in the first 2 years, we will reverse the situation. By 2027, we will have stabilized the economy. From 2028 to 2030, we will grow this economy to between 6.3 to 6.5% of the economy, of our GDP. We will be having that. And they are all phased. Every activity that we have in the DPP Manifesto has been costed. We will afford it. Between now and 2030, all our programs are within an envelope of 28.6 trillion kwacha in these 5 years. If we get donors, better. If we don't get any donors, fine. We will be able to finance our development, and we will be on our way to reaching the industrialization that we need by 2063. But we are beginning from 2025 to 2030.
Luntha, their vision stands as an autonomous phase.